Hi there, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday. It is November the 13th. I'm Emily Vukovic.
And I'm Tom Reynolds. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Don't even, it's not anywhere near Christmas just because we're seeing some snow.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Well, for parades this weekend.
Well, yeah, huge. Huge. Santa's here.
I thought you were talking about because of the snow.
Well, it is because of the snow, too.
We do have snow squall watches and warnings in place, set for at least 25. We'll talk more about the rest of the week and into the weekend. What will the weather be like for Santa? Details just ahead, but first, here's Tom. Well, unfortunately, lake effect is certainly going to be our story throughout the day today, especially areas north of Barrie. Those ones down to the south will taper off. We could see some streamers coming in through the GTA, like downtown core by later on this afternoon. Don't be surprised if you see a few flakes. Tonight, we do start to clear out, and then we are going to be seeing a fairly decent Friday and Saturday. But Sunday, brand new system comes in, and this could give us our first couple of centimeters of snow, and then the lake effect engines will continue throughout next week. Well, as you're heading out to go and get your breakfast, make sure you bundle up. It's freezing. We're seeing temperatures hovering around the freezing mark throughout the morning hours, 0 through Toronto, 0 in Hamilton. We're seeing some southwesterly winds that are just picking up enough fetch off of Lake Erie for Hamilton to see some light snow. We're seeing light snow further north as well. It's cold to the south. We're looking at -1 through London, -1 through Windsor, and it's cold to the east up in Ottawa, looking at 0. Hi there, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Weather Network. It's Thursday, it is the 12th of November. I'm Emily Vukovic.
And I'm Tom Reynolds, and it's a little bit chilly outside. I'll give it chilly today because It is around the 0 to -1 mark, so it is. I pulled out my winter coat.
Oh, good for you.
And I dusted it off and pulled it out, and there you go.
Well, we do have some snow squall watches and warnings, not so much for much of the GTA, but areas just to our west and to our north through the downtown core.
Yeah, so it's a little bit on the chilly side. You'll have to bundle up and just be prepared for slippery conditions in some areas. There is light snow right across southern Ontario and up into Huntsville. I'm hearing all the reports from the road crews reporting that there's light, even though some of it's not even showing up on radar.
Yeah, okay, well, a little bit of freezing rain too. No thanks. All right, we'll talk about the rest of the week, get you into the weekend. What's the forecast going to be like for Toronto Santa Claus Parade on Sunday? Details just ahead. First, here's Tom. Well, today is going to be a mix of sun and cloud kind of day today, but mostly cloudy with the chance of some mixing. We are going to be seeing the winds shift directions to more of a northwesterly flow, and that's when the streamers will switch directions, and that is when we have a good chance of seeing a little bit of snow through the downtown core. Lake effect is going to continue to be our story for the next couple of days. We are going to see an okay Saturday, but Sunday, new system coming in. This could give us a few centimeters of wet snow, and then the lake effect engines really kick it up a notch next week. Snow squall watches and warnings are alive and well today throughout Cottage Country, Parry Sound stretching through Muskoka in a warning, Meaford, Durham, and Kincardine in a watch. We are going to continue to see these squalls for the better part of the day today. Temperatures are going to stay just around the freezing mark, so conditions are perfect. The air is a lot colder than the water, and that's why we're able to pick up all of this moisture. Parry Sound could easily get 25 centimeters out of this. We're looking at trace amounts through the downtown core, a couple of accumulating centimeters through Hamilton, up through Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, and Cambridge. Everybody's seeing that now. Now we are going to continue to see these squalls, but the winds are going to shift slightly to the northwest, which means Toronto is in line for the potential for some snow squalls later on this afternoon. By tomorrow, we do start to clear out. We'll have a fairly decent day. And then on Sunday, new system approaches. This one could be giving us a few centimeters of wet snow, and then the lake effect engines fire up significantly next week. And Cottage Country could be seeing significant amounts of snow. Great news for skiers, bad news for those of us that don't love it. Thanks so much, Kevin. Yeah, today's going to be one of those days where it's like, oh, you see snow for 10 minutes and then it's gone, and then it picks up again, and then all of a sudden you're in no visibility, and then it's sunny. Like, it's those days with the snow squalls when they first fire up. It is certainly going to be tricky for commuters.
And it's Santa's fault.
Just because Santa's coming this weekend?
Santa's in town.
Well,
he's got parades everywhere this weekend.
Yeah, he's going to be in Oakville this weekend.
Yeah.
He's going to be in Toronto this
Yeah.
weekend. He's going to be in Milton this
Right.
weekend. He's going to be in
Georgetown
this weekend. He's going to be in
Acton.
Acton this weekend.
Toronto
This weekend.
Oh, it goes on and on.
Lucky he's magic.
He's busy.
Honestly. And 5, and then areas around Cottage Country, 25 centimeters of snow. Yay for ski country! All right, the Santa Claus Parade forecast coming up, but first, here's Tom. He's going to call his daughter, wake her up first of all, and then laugh at her because she's got snow. Streamers are going to continue for the better part of today and into tonight. Then they will start to taper off through Saturday morning. We may actually see some sunshine throughout the day. Sunday for that Santa Claus parade, it looks as though we are going to see a new system come in through the GTA, and this one is going to be bringing us the potential for a couple of centimeters of wet accumulating snow, and then the lake effect engines really kick it up a notch next week. Thanks, Tom. Watches and warnings in place through northern areas of Ontario. We are going to continue to see those bands coming off of Huron and Georgian Bay and Lake Erie. Hamilton seeing some bands. That's where Kevin Yard is heading. We are going to see a couple of centimeters possibly through Hamilton, St. Catharines and Niagara, but areas further north getting hit hard with these squalls. Parry Sound in line for an additional 25 centimeters of snow. These squalls have been going on since yesterday, and unfortunately, it is going to continue for today and into tomorrow. Now, speaking of squalls continuing, make sure you check in with our 14-day trend online at theweathernetwork.com. Will these snow squalls continue next week? I don't know about you, but I think those guys are doing a pretty good job, don't you? Okay, so yeah, you can vote online. Make sure you vote often, vote early. Let us know exactly what you think. I'm Emily Vukovic. It is Thursday. It is the 12th of November. And if we think it is cold here, it has been record-breaking cold to minus 25.6. Chilly, even in through southern British Columbia. Now, the big story for southern Ontario today is not only the cold, but that is when we start to see the lake effect engines really diminish because they don't have that moisture to pick up, right? So it's good news for those of us that don't love lake effect snow when the lakes freeze. But until then, we're going to be dealing with some pretty decent bands today into tomorrow and even more so throughout next week. All right, I'm going to turn things over to Tom Reynolds right now. He's got an update on your commute. It's not doing so well. Actually, we do have snow squalls firing up again along the shores of Huron and Erie, and snow squall watches and warnings are in place through Huron and Georgian Bay. Down through Erie, where Kevin is, we are seeing some light snow. These streamers are going to continue for the better part of the day today, and some areas could get slammed with about 25 centimeters of snow. We're looking at trace amounts through the downtown core beginning later on this afternoon. Thanks so much, Kevin. Now, I have good news and I have bad news. Which would you like first?
I've got good news and I've got bad news too.
Well,
go ahead.
It's all about me, Tom.
Well, go ahead.
My good news is that it's going to be very festive for the Santa Claus parade on Sunday. We're going to see some snow in Toronto.
Isn't that great? And you'll be in Jamaica.
Yeah, and my bad news is that we do have watches and warnings in place for snow squalls. What's your good news, Mark?
I have got bad news on severe injuries could be closed. So eastbound 407 at Woodbine may be closed in the next few minutes. Everybody's arriving on the scene. Good news, it's not on the 401.
That's your good news?
That's the good news.
My good news is way better than your good news.
I know.
Afternoon. We'll talk more about the weekend forecast in just a moment, but first, here's Tom with more on that crash. Those bands of lake effect snow, there is so much fetch right now because the lakes aren't even close to being frozen and the air is just a lot colder than the lakes, and that's why we're picking up all this moisture. It is such a perfect recipe for lake effect. That's going to continue through the better part of the day. The winds start to shift later on this afternoon and into tomorrow. That's Toronto's best chance of seeing some, and then more accumulating snow come Sunday. Well, it's not so much the systems that we're talking about, it's the lake effect snow that we're dealing with. We've got watches and warnings through Parry Sound, through Huntsville, Muskoka, through Meaford, through Durham, through Kincardine. We're seeing snow right now through Hamilton, through Kitchener, through Waterloo, through Guelph, through Cambridge. It is very, very light snow, but it's snowflakes nonetheless. This lake effect is going to be more intense with those westerly winds up through the Parry Sound area. Wyerton's going to get hit pretty hard with this snow. Barrie could pick up anywhere between 5 to 15 centimeters. We're looking at trace amounts throughout much of the typical snow belts down through London and areas until the winds start to shift, and then it could intensify a little bit more to more of a northwesterly direction. That's where the downtown core could see a trace amount of snow today and into tomorrow. Next system that comes in is going to be on Sunday for the Santa Claus parade, bringing us some. Thanks so much, Kevin. Okay, good news, bad news scenario.
Go ahead.
How's your, no, I was going to ask you, how's the accident on the 407?
It's not good.
Not
we
good
got
at all.
Three lanes
Have
blocked.
They closed it?
They got a piece of a lane getting by, but it's virtually stopped. So eastbound at the 404, we've got a major crash on the 407. Avoid the area if you can.
Okay, more bad news is that we do have watches and warnings in place for snow squalls. We're looking at 25 centimeters for Parry Sound, and that's additional on top of what they already have from yesterday. So pretty intense. We'll talk more about the weekend forecast. What will the Santa Claus parade be like? Details just ahead. First, here's Tom. Well, these snow squalls are certainly our story for the next few days. We're going to continue to see those bands coming off of Huron and Georgian Bay. Winds shift to more of a northwesterly direction, and so Toronto's going to be in line for them later on today and even into tomorrow morning. Saturday we clear out, but then Sunday, new system approaches. This could give us a few wet centimeters of snow, so it's going to be very festive for Santa Claus parades. Lake effect. It's the perfect time of year. We've got a great setup for it. We've got cold temperatures. The winds are a lot colder than the water, and we've got a really strong westerly flow. Hence, watches and warnings through cottage country. Those bands are going to continue to come off of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron, and we're even seeing some bands coming off of Lake Erie because the winds are a bit tricky today. They're coming into a westerly direction and a southwesterly direction, so different areas are getting hit at the same time. Places like Parry Sound, we're looking at the potential for about 25 centimeters, trace amounts for Toronto. Lake effect snow. It is our big story today. Areas around cottage country into watches and warnings. How lake effect works? Well, the water temperatures have to be warmer than the air temperatures, and that's exactly the perfect setup for what's happening today. We've got strong westerly, northwesterly winds, and the fetch, well, the lake is not frozen yet, so it's got a large body of water to go over. The wind, that is. So we are going to be seeing snow throughout the day today. Here, look at the watches and warnings throughout cottage country. Places like Hamilton and St. Catharines and Niagara look as though they're picking up a lot of snow. They're not. We just checked in with Kevin. He's not seeing a ton of snow in downtown Hamilton, but we still could see trace amounts this afternoon. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. We do have watches and warnings, snow squalls. I mean, it's the time of year when the air is just colder than the water, and it's just, some areas get hammered. Have you spoke to your daughter yet in Huntsville?
I have, and they aren't getting very much, actually. They had 2 centimeters last night.
Okay.
Right now it's tracking into just sort of Bracebridge, so she'll see some on her way into work. But yeah, Parry Sound over, they're seeing some snow, but not huge accumulations right now.
Well, we do have watches and warnings in places for both of those areas. Parry Sound in a snow squall warning, henceforth the Santa Claus parade on Sunday. But first, here's Tom with traffic. Lake effect. That's the story this week and into next week. This week's actually less than next week. Next week's going to be intense, so stay with us. We're going to be checking about your long-range forecast in just a few moments. Okay, we've got the streamers coming off of Huron and Georgian Bay and even off of Erie this morning. Winds are going to shift this afternoon, so the GTA could be in line for just trace amounts of snow later on this afternoon. Saturday, not a bad day. Sunday for the Santa Claus parade, we've got a couple of centimeters of wet snow on the way. You make me sound so appealing, Tom. Thank you for that. Okay, lake effect snow showers. This is how they originate. We've got the longest fetch over the Great Lakes because none of the lakes are frozen yet. So that's why we're seeing so much accumulation. There's tons of moisture to be picked up. The water temperatures need to be warmer than the air, and that's certainly going to be the case throughout the day today. We've got watches and warnings anywhere through cottage country from Parry Sound down towards Meaford. Barrie not in the watch or the warning, but I wouldn't be surprised if you picked up 5 to 15 centimeters of snow today. Same goes for Orillia through Midland. Hamilton, St. Catharines, Niagara, and London, everybody's seeing some snow, but it's very, very, very light. And the downtown core may pick up trace amounts by this afternoon. Places like Parry Sound, however, getting hit with 25 centimeters. These winds are going to continue in a westerly direction until later on this afternoon and through this evening. They'll switch to a northwest, and that is exactly when Toronto could see a little bit of snow.
There we go.
It's like you're brushing them off. All right, yeah, it's cold, and snow is a huge story this week. And not only is it a huge story this week, next week's going to be even worse for lake effect.
Oh, that's great. You're just full of good news, aren't you?
Well,
and you really don't even care because you'll be in Jamaica looking at sand and palm trees.
Okay, if you send me pictures of the lake effect, I will send you pictures of the beach.
Yeah, thanks.
I know, it's
doesn't look like a fair trade to me.
Oh, but Tom, just think you'll get to really work in this active weather.
Oh, I love it. I love snow.
Do.
I love snow. I can hardly wait to get my snowshoes out.
Your snowshoes. That is hilarious. Tom doesn't own a pair of snowshoes. Today, some areas more than others. Parry Sound, 25 centimeters. All right, your long-range forecast, including the weekend, is coming up. And now I'm going to turn things over to the fake winter enthusiast.
I just come down 9th line from Georgetown with my skis and get right down here to Dundas. And here I am at work. Yep, okay, let's go.
Sure. No one believes you, Tom. I don't know who you're trying to kid. We've got these streamers coming off to Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. That's why Parry Sound is getting hit the hardest. A lot of fetch, big body of water, not frozen yet. This is going to continue to be the story through later on today into tonight and even into tomorrow. For Saturday, we've got high pressure moving in, so we'll see some sunshine. But Sunday for the Santa Claus parade in Toronto, it looks as though it's going to be festive. A couple centimeters of wet snow. Snow squall is certainly a big story today. We have snow squall watches and warnings in place through cottage country. The radar is showing them well off of that westerly wind coming off of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. Then we've got a southwesterly wind coming off of Erie, and that's what's picking up the snow for Hamilton and through Cambridge and Guelph and through Kitchener. Snowfall amounts are certainly going to vary. Barrie could pick up about 15 centimeters today and into tomorrow. Places like Parry Sound, 25. How is this going to play out in the next week or so? Check out our 14-day trend at our website, theweathernetwork.com. Snow squall is certainly a big story through the GTA for the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, I should say. Next week is looking like intense snow for much of cottage country, which is great news for skiers and boarders. Everybody's thrilled that the snow is coming early. We're seeing those streamers come off of Huron and Georgian Bay and down towards Lake Erie. The southwesterly winds giving Hamilton, Kitchener, Waterloo a little bit of snow this morning. Some areas getting hit harder than others. Parry Sound could pick up 25 centimeters. Our best chance through the downtown core is going to be later on this afternoon through this evening, and even a chance throughout the day tomorrow. Saturday looks good, but Sunday, new system coming in just in time for the Santa Claus parade with snow. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Yeah, if you think this week's cold, next week is going to be even colder.
Oh, is that right?
It is.
Where are you going to be?
Jamaica. It's 30 degrees there.
Right, okay.
Rachel Houston's going to be filling in for me starting
Yes,
tomorrow and
she
all
is.
next week, so she's going to have to put up with your nonsense
That's
about,
okay.
oh, it's snowing, oh no,
I
it's
love the
snowing.
snow. I
Yeah,
love snow.
right.
Cross-country skiing, snowboarding. Now, I'm going to buy a new snowboard.
When was the last
this
time you went snowboarding, Tom?
year. 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I did.
And how long did you do it for?
Not very long.
Yeah, about 4 minutes. There's
Well,
video on my Facebook page to prove it.
I've done it. At least I've done it. Have you ever been snowboarding?
Yes, I have.
Where?
I don't know.
You're lying.
Totally.
You're totally lying.
Let's take a look at the watches and warnings. I'm totally lying. I've never been snowboarding a day in my life. Can't stand the cold. No. Talk more about the weekend forecast in just a moment, but first, here's Tom. We are going to be seeing these squalls continue for the next day or so. We've got those westerly winds hitting Parry Sound pretty hard with accumulation. And then they're going to switch to more of a northwesterly direction. So that's our best chance through Toronto downtown to see trace amounts. Friday, again, lake effect. And then Saturday, we clear out briefly. And then Sunday, we do have some snow for the Santa Claus parade. Thanks, Tom. Lots to talk about in this long-range forecast. We have watches and warnings for snow squalls through Parry Sound, through Huntsville, Haliburton, through Muskoka, Meaford, Kincardine. Everybody is getting a taste of winter today. We are going to be seeing heavier amounts in some areas. Parry Sound could pick up 25 centimeters of snow, while in Barrie and Aurelian and through Midland, we could see 5 to 15. Downtown, we're looking at trace amounts, and that's only when the winds are going to shift from more of a westerly direction to more of a northwesterly direction. That's when the downtown core could see trace amounts. This trend is going to continue throughout the day tomorrow. By Saturday, we do start to clear up. We are going to see some high pressure move in, but by Sunday, we could see accumulation of a couple of centimeters of wet snow just in time for the Santa Claus parade. And then next week, lake effect engines, they ramp right up and temperatures are going to stay really cold. Hi there, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on the Weather Network. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Thursday. It is the 13th of November, and it is a cold start to the day. You're certainly going to want to bundle up in some layers. We've got Kevin Yard. He's been joining us all morning from downtown Hamilton. And Kevin, you've seen a little bit of snow with those southwesterly winds, but the big story, I think, is going to be the cold temperatures today. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Yeah, some areas certainly hitting the 25 centimeter mark potentially today. Us in Toronto, we could see trace amounts by later on this afternoon. We are going to see those winds shift direction to more of a northwesterly flow. It's cottage country that is certainly seeing the most snow, and that is where we join Kasia Badurka. How does it feel to be in a really good snowfall?
You know, it's a bittersweet feeling, Emily. So snow to come throughout the morning and early afternoon hours, Emily.
All right, thanks so much, Kasia. It really does look pretty, doesn't it? I think I always find there's something so romantic about the real first snowfall of the season. But then after that, I'm done with it. We can move on. We do have watches and warnings in a lot of areas around cottage country. It is going to be intense throughout the day today, especially for areas like Parry Sound. 25 centimeters, certainly not out of the question. Downtown Toronto, we're looking at trace amounts. These streamers are going to continue off of Huron and Georgian Bay, and then the winds are going to start to shift direction. And by this afternoon and into tomorrow, that's the best chance for Toronto to see a little bit of snow. Now, we do have high pressure moving in throughout the day on Saturday, so expect to see some sunshine. But then Sunday, just in time for the Santa Claus parade, we are going to be seeing a couple centimeters of wet snow with a new system pushing through. And then next week is going to remain cold, and the lake effect engines are going to be firing up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, possibly even into Friday. Thanks so much, Kasha. All right. Yes, get on our website, vote now, vote early, and vote as many times as you would like to pick your favorite local forecast music. I'm Emily Vukovic. It is Thursday. It is the 12th of November, and it is cold. Temperatures barely hitting the freezing mark throughout the day today for lake effect snow. Now, to explain it, this is a really easy explanation. The water temperatures and 850 millibar temperatures, at least 13 degrees spread. So that generally just says to me, temperatures of the air need to be colder than the water, and that is exactly what we get at this time of year before the lakes start to freeze. The most snowfall is caused by those northwesterly winds, so that's why places like Parry Sound and Collingwood and Wyerton often get hit very hard with squalls. Now, we're going to see these winds setting up again today, so that's why Toronto could actually get hit. For the morning hours, we are seeing mostly westerly winds and southwesterly winds. That's why Hamilton was picking up a little bit of snow this morning. We are seeing incredible amounts through the Parry Sound area, and we can thank those westerly winds for that when they come in from the northwest. Same areas, certainly right in the way for squalls to be continuing this afternoon. As you can see there, the wind shifting right there. So that's Toronto's best chance of seeing a little bit of snow later on this afternoon into the evening, and then I wouldn't rule out early tomorrow morning. By Saturday, we've got high pressure, and then Sunday, new system coming in bringing snow for the Santa Claus Parade. Joining us, meteorologist Dr. Doug Gillum. It's all about two things right now. It is all about cold temperatures and snow squalls.
Yes, we have a pattern that really resembles what we saw most of last winter. December-like temperatures. I guess the good news is, though, that most of the snow is falling where we want it in ski country.
Absolutely.
And there's not that much snow in the forecast between the 401, 407, and the QEW corridor as we go really through next week.
Right, and this is the transitioning period. This is the time where you really need to start thinking about winter tires,
Yes.
because lake effect and snow squalls, they can come out of nowhere. You can be driving in sunshine and then all of a sudden, no visibility.
Exactly, and as you travel towards cottage country, or if on Sunday you're headed towards Niagara, especially Niagara Falls, Fort Erie, Nether, decline, and the lake effect really picks up Monday night into Tuesday in the usual snow belts. This week the lake effect is significant.
Wow.
This will be substantial accumulations for ski country.
Are you crazy enough to throw out a number?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Just a lot.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We just know it's going to be intense. So as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, still, lake effect still going to be our major story. We've got those cold winds coming off the relatively warm water.
Right.
And that's what's giving us all of this moisture Wednesday into Thursday. And then, Doug, tell us about this. What is this?
Well, this is the temperature pattern next week to show really the coast-to-coast cold pattern. Blues, greens, purples all represent below seasonal temperatures. 2 days in the final week of November with above seasonal temperatures, but headed into December, back to below seasonal once again.
Okay, so at least we get a tiny little bit of a break. Thanks, Christy. Nothing but the truth. I put my parka on even if I'm just going to the store in the wintertime. I know I'm a bit of a baby when it comes to cold temperatures, but still, being prepared is always a good idea. I'm Emily Vukovic. It is Thursday. It is the 12th of November, and it is cold, and we've got snow to deal with throughout southern Ontario. We saw the snow flying. Again, lake effect engines firing up. Perfect conditions. We've got much colder air than we do the water before the lakes freeze. They love to pick up a lot of moisture and dump a ton of snow in some places. Huntsville, Muskoka, Meaford, through Parry Sound, everybody's either in a watch or a warning for these snow squalls. Some areas are going to get hit a lot harder than others. We've got those westerly winds, so Parry Sound, I wouldn't rule out about 25 centimeters for areas up there. Through Barrie, you could pick up 5 to 15 centimeters, and through Aurelia and in through Midland, we're going to see some accumulating snow. And even down towards the Hamilton area, we were picking up a little bit of snow earlier this morning because we had some southwesterly winds coming off of Lake Erie. The bands are going to shift direction later on this afternoon. They're going to come in from more of a northwesterly wind, so that is why we could see trace amounts through the downtown core. Tomorrow we do start to clear in the afternoon, and Saturday, high pressure in the forecast. By Sunday, just in time for the Santa Claus Parade, it's going to look very festive. We're looking at some wet snow, and then next week, the lake effect engines, they just ramp up with these winds, and we're going to see a lot of accumulating snowfall in many areas with temperatures staying cold. Hi there, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. It's Thursday, it is the 13th of November. I'm Emily Vukovic. It has certainly been a cold start to the day, and we're dealing with a lot of lake effect snow. And before I break that down for you, let's check in with Kevin Yard. He is in downtown Hamilton. And Kevin, I think the cold temperatures are your biggest story today. You were seeing a little bit of snow with that lake effect, but for the most part, it's just cold.
He's got his jacket on now.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Yeah, you certainly need your jacket today, that's for sure. We are going to continue to see cold temperatures and snow. And speaking of snow, we joined Kasia Badurka. She's up in Bracebridge. And Kasia, I have to admit, I mean, it really does look pretty. Mm-hmm. Exactly. What do you mean you're not making any snow angels? Come on. No. Oh, well. Okay, lake effect snow, water, and temperatures. It does all have to do with the temperature of the air and the water. The water is warmer than the air right now. A lot of fetch over the Great Lakes. These lakes are not even close to being frozen, so that is why we're going to see these continued lake effect bands firing up for the next couple of days. Now, we do have watches and warnings in place, mostly around cottage country, and we also have heavy accumulation potentially in some areas. Parry Sound could pick up 25 centimeters. The downtown core, we're looking at trace amounts. Barrie, anywhere from 5 to 15 centimeters. And through Orillia and Midland. Areas north of the GTA could see a little bit of accumulation, but for the most part, it's going to melt as soon as it hits the ground. We're starting to see the wind shift direction by later on this afternoon and into tomorrow to northwesterly winds, so that's when Toronto could see its trace. Thanks, Kim. For more around the world in 60-second videos, you can always head to our website, theweathernetwork.com. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Thursday. It is the 13th of November, and it is cold, and we are seeing lake effect snow. Lake effect firing up when the winds are colder than the water. They've got a large fetch to go over, big body of water that is not even close to being frozen yet. We do have watches and warnings up through cottage country, Huntsville, Parry Sound, Muskoka. Everybody's into a snow squall warning. Places like Parry Sound could get hit with 25 centimeters of snow from today and into tomorrow, thanks to those westerly winds. Now, the winds are going to start to shift slightly by this afternoon, and this is when the city of Toronto could actually get into a little bit of snow, when we start to see a bit of a northwesterly flow. We are going to see that risk tonight and into tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, not a bad day. Saturday looks pretty good. We've got high pressure in place, but then on Sunday, that's when things are going to change. We are going to see some snow as a system approaches for the Santa Claus parade, so at least it's going to be festive. We've got snow. It looks as though a few centimeters of wet snow through Toronto, through Georgetown, through Acton, through Oakville, through Milton. Santa is going to be in all those areas this weekend. So, like I said, at least it will be festive. Next week, temperatures remain quite cold. And as you can see, a lot of snow in our forecast. And we can thank those lake effect engines for that. Some records are not fun to break. Coming up, which cities set November lows this week and who's already in the minus 30s? Stick around.